Welcome to round 3 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of March 29th. I'm Terry Morrow, and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
And Nicole Eridix.
Hi there.
We're moms of teens and young adults, and when it comes to parenting, we've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. But we're still waiting for that day when we'll reach the finish line and have no further need to lay down in a dark room with a wet rag over our eyes, worrying about something or other. Wednesday is Complaint Day here on Parenting Roundabout, and today we are complaining about other people's opinions on our parenting choices. This is Judginess Week at Parenting Roundabout, apparently. Monday, it was doctors and psychologists judging our parenting choices. Today, it's other parents. How dare they? They know how hard it is. So we're reacting to a post on the blog Travel Mad Mum for parents who love travel. And it's the post is entitled 5 of Our Parenting Choices People Have an Opinion About. And those choices are co-sleeping, vegetarian diet for the kiddos, breastfeeding, travel with babies, and having a stay-at-home dad. Those are all ripe topics for people to judge.
Yes.
And yet I have no opinion about them at all and would not imagine saying something to somebody or even thinking, you know, I wouldn't even be in my head. Just go, you go, you be you, you do you, whatever works for your family. As I have said before, my family is different. So, are there things that would either of you like to go on a little judginess about those 5 things that were mentioned in the blog? And if not, what do people judge you for?
Well, I think I might have mentioned on the podcast once before, like, when my daughter was a babe, my first child was a baby, and I was breastfeeding, and my mom, who is not very judgy and who, in fact, breastfed herself at a time when it wasn't even that common or popular, she was like, "Are you just going to keep feeding her every time she cries?" And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Luckily, it didn't, bother me. I was just like, yeah, that's how I'm doing it.
Well, with the same topic, but a little kind of an opposite experience, I couldn't breastfeed my kids. I found it very difficult and couldn't continue past, I gave it a good old try. And so I gave my kids a bottle. That was something that was, that I did for me. That was in my best health, my mental health. And I was very judged for that.
Yeah.
Very judged for that, because that was at a time when breastfeeding was becoming more mainstream. And I actually had a public health nurse come out to the house, because in Canada, when you have a child, when you have a baby at a hospital, you'll get assigned a public health nurse, and then they will call you and check up on you when you go home and make sure everything's going well. And I had said, I'm not breastfeeding, because they had asked. And I had a public health nurse, this like young 20-something little girl, come to the house and tell me why I needed to be breastfeeding. And there I was in my, with my 1-month-old and postpartum and emotional. And she's sitting there telling me that I needed to do it for the health of my baby because he wasn't going to be healthy. And
goodness.
That was just maddening. And then so that's a similar experience with Kristen when she was born, because we were at the hospital and the nurses said, well, are you, I said, I need bottles. I need formula. And they were like, oh, really? And so, yeah, it was very scandalous that I was not nursing. So, yes.
Well,
had a very
this shows
experience.
the ridiculousness of judging this stuff one way or the other. Because here, this person in the blog is talking about being judged for breastfeeding, and you were judged for not breastfeeding.
Yeah.
So moms can't win.
No.
You know,
the same thing happened to me when I was having my second kid, and I had a C-section with my first, and I was trying to not have a C-section with my second one. And meanwhile, I had a friend who was in the same situation, pregnant with her second, hadn't had a C-section the first time, and she was planning, a repeat scheduled C-section. And we were both getting crap for it. We were both like, why would you why would you do that? Like,
really?
Yeah.
So no matter which choice we made.
Were you at least cool with each other? You didn't feel the need to judge one another's choices?
Oh, no.
Okay. Because it's like, how insecure do you have to be to attack somebody who makes a different decision from you?
Right.
It seems like, why do people get so locked into these things? It's got to be some sort of personal thing.
Right.
Well, but I think it's like they know better than you, right?
Yeah. See Monday's episode with the professionals. but just people, individuals. I mean, I might judge people in my head sometimes, but I wouldn't say anything. And a lot of times with parents, it's just, parenting is hard and you have to find your groove, and whatever it is, as long as you're not, whacking your baby's head against the wall, good for you. Hold it together there. I really don't care. I don't know. I don't understand
all these things in this
judge
article,
stuff like that.
All these things that this person mentions in this article are, they don't affect people outside the family. So,
right.
I can maybe see, we probably don't even want to go there, but, something like vaccines, in an overall way, they do affect other people because herd immunity and all that stuff. But, whether or not my kid is breastfed or co-sleeps or eats a vegetarian diet, how on earth does that matter to other people?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's difficult.
Well, and I think, too, it's kind of a bit, it's an interesting situation because there's so much emphasis placed on how you parent in the early years and what you do for them in the early years, which is important. But then I feel like there is some attention given to parenting older kids, but not as much as what younger kids, right?
Right.
And I feel like when they're older, not that you want to judge other parents, but I think it's pretty important, just as important, if not more important, to be thinking about ways to parent your teens because at that age it can impact other people. Like drinking and driving or, the decisions that they make as teens do impact other people in a lot of ways. So, I don't know. It just kind of seems like a weird time to be judgy.
It does. And parents do reach out for advice sometimes. There's a million different parenting books with a million different takes. But then at least if you're seeking it out, you can sort of find something that sounds right to you as opposed to what the person at the bus stop has to say or whatever.
Right.
And that's valuable. I don't think any of us comes with a complete manual of knowing what's right for us and for our kid, but you got some instincts or some knowledge of your own personal situation that random strangers or even well-meaning extended family members don't have. So I was judged, I felt like, for things relating to my kids' disabilities. And, there were certainly many learned professionals who knew exactly what they were capable of. And if I felt differently, I was deluded. So that was a constant struggle. And it made me more hard-headed, which wasn't necessarily good. So if they had soft-pedaled that a little bit, it probably would have been better for everybody. But nothing gets you locked in like somebody challenging what you think,
Yeah.
How many people have been swayed to do something different as parents of young children because some nosy Nelly told them what to do?
Yeah.
It just makes you 10 times more likely to do exactly what you're doing. For most of us, I think.
Right.
And that was certainly the case with me. And just, as people questioning why we do certain, access certain services or don't access certain services or, have them working or not working, or it's just, there seems to be kind of a constant sort of, about certain choices we've made. But I am, at this point, pretty headstrong, and now I will yell at people in the shower that I feel have judged me harshly. I just still do what I want to do.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes they might be right, and I ignore them because of the way.
Because you can't tell me what to do.
Assistance is put forward. Exactly. You can't tell me what to do, and you know nothing. I guess I have a personality that does not take kindly to that. If I ask you for advice, then I will listen to it and consider it. If I don't, shut up.
Yeah.
So, but I guess if you go into an IEP meeting, you're kind of asking for advice. So, I don't know.
Well, you're asking.
Have I mentioned how traumatized I have been by the special education system? Okay.
You're asking for services that your kid is entitled to.
That's true. And I'm asking to have a fair and open sharing of impressions that we will, consider both sides and then move forward instead of.
Right.
Yeah. But, the other people calcifying into you must do it this way or you're wrong then calcifies me into the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's true for a lot of parents.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody who is, going back to the article on Monday, anybody who is a strict parent is going to read that article and go, oh, I see now. Yes, yes, children, do everything you want. They're just going to go, well, this is full of bleep and throw it over their shoulder. Well, it's in the computer, but close that window and go on doing what they're doing, feeling extremely self-righteous. So watch it with the judging. Sometimes it backfires.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to, because you just know, right? Like some of the decisions that you're making is going to cause people to maybe look twice or wonder or want to ask. And
doesn't help that there's so many different choices on how to do things now.
Right.
Right.
You can do anything you want. So why did you make that choice?
Right.
Just know, listeners, that whatever you're doing, you can tell us and we won't judge you. No,
you're probably doing it right. It's probably okay.
Exactly. We'll support you. We'll cheer you on.
Yes.
As long as it's safe and
we'll keep our thoughts to ourselves. It'll be fine.
Yes. So I guess that wraps up this podcast. That's it for today's round 3. Tune in tomorrow and we'll obsess about post-pandemic adjustments, and then on Friday to see what we've come up with for our Roundabout Roundup picks this week. Find all our episodes at parentingroundabout.com and talk back in the comments there, on our Facebook page, or on Twitter, where you will find us at Roundabout Chat.